blood on a red rock. The two of you are standing back to back. The whole company is standing around you in a circle, chanting, "Salt and iron, salt and iron, salt and iron is blood. Salt and iron, salt and iron, salt and iron is blood." This thing is 3 rounds. The prizes get better and better each round you complete. The first round, the handlers bring in one of these poor moss-infected people from Pineacre. This person looks like maybe they used to be a woodcutter or maybe some kind of trapper or something in these great woods. Who knows? But they are very withered looking, very hungry looking. Their bloodshot eyes are practically bulging out of their skull. They have a smeary, dribbly redness coming out of their tear ducts and their ears and their mouth. Poor moss-infected person. The same red moss that is underfoot right now, where this combat is taking place. A bit of rock covered in red. They have the thing in chains. They unchain it and turn it loose on the two of you, and it comes scrabbling forward. This is a combat roll. I need to know how you are exposed to danger, and roll a weak point, please.
I'm exposed to danger because I've never fought shoulder to shoulder with a horror guest before.
Ah, interesting. Horagust, what about you?
I think Horrorgast is laughing in sort of in a whistly, wheezy kind of way, and is exposed because he's sort of mad, bad, and dangerous to know, and isn't particularly concerned. I mean, the moss may wear down his body, but he doesn't care that much anymore.
Mm. You have to fight this thing, this moss-infected person. They're an endurance 6. What are your weak points, please?
5.
5,
3.
3. It's an endurance 6. Vaunt, you have the first combat roll. Combat 2, looking for 6 total.
Okay.
That is a 5 and a 3. Horrorguest, it hits your weak point.
And both of us.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, it's a 5. Oh, it is indeed. You both take a hit from this thing, unless you choose to mark armor. But in any case, you are going to destroy it. Vaunt, give me the first part of the combat.
Vaughn is a tall, stiff-backed man in what looks like an old, tattered uniform coat from some military or other. He carries a dueling saber, and there's a hint of a flicker of an entity moving around him that's like it's like made of shadow. And at some points it's almost like the shape of a little person. At other points it's the shape of something maybe animal, but it's constantly in motion. I think he draws up in a very formal dueling posture as this thing approaches and waits for it to come to him, and then steps aside, but perhaps not quite fast enough to avoid its lashing claw.
Indeed, it lashes out and it gets its hands on your like forearm, and it just scrambles and bites at your forearm. You are taking the hit, it sounds like.
I will.
Take the hit. You also take a condition, moss infected. It doesn't affect you right now, but it might in the future. Horror guest, finish this thing off.
So Horrorghast is this kind of skinny, capering individual in an outlandish costume of woven copper trousers and a large bandolier that looks like it might once have been a necklace for a much larger being. And he has a wooden right arm, and he basically capers around, cackling, and then just grabs the thing and throws it, and then throws it back, and eventually, it just gets confused, but it manages to basically take a bite out of his copper trousers that sort of the moss starts to eat them away and they become, you know, ineffective as protection.
What does it look like when you kill this thing? Either of you can answer.
I think maybe we have to hold it down and then smash its head into the moss-covered rock multiple times before it stops.
That sounds good to me. When it's finally done, chunk, 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 its skull cracking surprisingly easily, and red flecked brain matter oozes out onto the red rock. A cheer goes up. Yeah! Salt and iron, salt and iron, salt and iron is blood. You've survived the first round of Blood on a Red Rock. You're entitled to a prize equal to the gold roll on this monster, which would be a gold 6 roll, so who knows what you're going to end up with. If you don't get any capital G gold out of the roll, you earn the good favor of the company, a few free rounds of beer and meals. You can also bail right now. If you bail, you roll, you get your prize. If you keep going, you bank the roll, and the next round, if you succeed, you get a flat payment of 2 gold to split between you, in addition to the gold rolls. Do you continue on?
Vaughnt's
Yes.
honor will or his pride will not let him quit at this stage.
And a perverse sense of self-destruction drives Horrorghast on.
Indeed, indeed. The next fight, when you say that you're continuing, everyone cheers. They give up the blood and salt, or the salt and iron is blood chant. And now they've got 2 wolves. These wolves are also infected by the moss. You can see it sort of hanging, interwoven red with their gray fur. You can see their jaws. They slobber a red putridness, and their poor eyes are also ringed in red. They're getting ready to let the wolves loose. What are the both of you doing?
I think Vaughn mutters a word to this flickering shape that's moving around him, and I would, once they release the wolves, I would like to try and use a ranged weapon of sorts to
You can use the
reduce
range.
their endurance.
If you use a ranged weapon to reduce their endurance, you can do that. It does mean that Horrorghast has to initially at least fight them alone. So I am very excited to see your ranged weapon roll. Let's be reminded of the rules. What is your ranged weapon? What are you actually using?
My ranged weapon is actually a bound imp.
A bound imp.
Which is
Nice.
named Togmalar. This is the flickering shape that's around me.
Very good, very good.
Because Vaughn is a demonologist and he has his bound protector.
You're going to make a risk roll to reduce the endurance. However, instead of Devil's Bargains, there will be a light die. You add a light die for each unmarked slot of ammunition you are willing to risk. We do still have to do the risk roll as we normally would. I am going to grab a copy of the risk roll text. The way we do this is you have to run the risk roll, Rob. So this is for you to guide us through. But let me grab the text of it. And I will put that in chat for you. Okay, guide us through it.
Okay, so I will take a light die if the task is something you're skilled at because of your occupational background.
Back up. You got to ask us what could go wrong.
Oh, what could go wrong? Yeah, what could go wrong with this attempt to use an imp to fight the wolves for me.
Maybe the imp joins the wolves,
Or the imp possesses the wolves and
makes them
it
harder.
becomes worse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I like that.
Oof. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. If you fail your roll, continue, please.
Okay, so I'm going to take a light die if the task is something I'm skilled at because of my occupational background. I have a skill in demons,
Hmm.
which is kind of,
I'll
I was
take
going to
it.
argue,
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to do here. Um,
And how many ammunition slots are you going to risk?
I'm just going to risk the one, I think, because
Okay.
I feel like I might want to save some for later.
Go ahead and roll risk two. Too light.
Do I need to add a dark because it's inherently dangerous or not at this stage?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Uh, I got a 3
You
on me.
got a three. You do not reduce the monster's endurance, and you also suffer some kind of consequence. I
Am I allowed
think
to add a dark and re-roll, or
you
is
are
that
indeed, yes.
got to try it?
Risk 2-1.
4. But at least the light was high.
Oh, that's good. Okay, on a 4 to 5, you reduce the monster's endurance by one. They were a collective endurance of 9. Now they are an endurance of 8. Horrorgest, you're on your own here for at least a round. How are you exposed right now?
I think basically I have to hold off two wolves simultaneously while they're both trying to basically bite my arms and pull them off.
Fantastic. Let's get your weak point.
Let's do it. Week 5.
5. And it's a combat 1.
Yeah, let's do it.
You need to get 8 on
One.
a 6-sided die. Good luck.
Yeah, that. Thanks, maths. 2.
2. At least it didn't hit you. Um, both of you, please, Vaughn, start the combat off. How is the imp helping?
Yeah, as as Vaughn mutters this word to the thing flickering around him, we see it kind of leap forward toward these wolves, and there's a howl from the wolf as it strikes them, and we can see this shadowy figure moving around it and tearing at it.
Fantastic. Give me a little bit of Horgust. How are you holding them at bay at least?
I think Hargast is just shouting, "Come on, you bastards! You can't get me! You're slow and stupid! Look at you! Look at you! Pathetic!"
The wolves are snarling and yapping at this like strange shadowy thing, and they're clearly antagonized by you, Horrorgast. What's really interesting about these poor moss-infected wolves is they're not that graceful. So you would expect like wolves to be like quite, graceful in their stalking, but they're not. They kind of stumble around and roll around and are kind of a bit wobbly, but they're very nasty and very vicious all the same. Vaunt, you can join the combat now. Please tell me how you're exposed as you rush in.
I'm exposed because I've kind of got to keep half a mind on what the imp is doing if I need to give it any further commands, right?
Indeed. Give me a weak point.
6.
6. All right. We're looking for endurance
Mm,
8. It is 3 combat. Vaunt, you can roll combat 3.
Sorry, horror guest.
That is a 2, a
wow,
1, and a 1.
that's gnarly. Um,
uh,
Oh, I didn't hit either of us
no,
though.
no one got
Sorry.
hit. Yeah, no one got hit.
Yeah.
Just keep the combat going. Vaunt, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think these things charge toward Vaunt, and he again is taking this very formal dueling posture and kind of steps aside and circle around as they pass him, and they kind of warily look toward him, growling, and he's just waiting for the next opportunity to strike at them. But neither
Horrorgast?
has drawn blood yet.
Yeah.
I think Hargast is just sort of jumping and capering back and forth and says, "Font, I think you just whetted their appetite for us."
Fantastic. If you're still in the combat, it's going to be a combat 4, looking for 8 on the 2 highest dice. Horrorgast, take it away.
Heck yes, let's do this. 3, 4. Oh, I did. What is it? A 10.
6 and 4 is 10. Our weak points were 5 and 6. That is a hit on you, however, Vaunt.
It
Uh,
is.
decide if you're marking armor or not, and give me some narration.
The rules are we can recover 2.
You can recover 2 armor points with 1 gold.
Oh, but not ruin. Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna mark some armor. I think as the wolves turn to charge again, they don't respect Vaughn's very formal style of dueling, and they turn and charge at him before he's quite composed. But as one of them would bite down on him, his this amulet he wears around his neck flares, and its bite is turned aside.
Nice, good. Horrorghast, you can finish these things off if you want.
I think because Horrorghast has this big golden bandolier, but he has a series of fey copper bells attached to it, and he starts pulling them out and waving, like ringing them in this sort of figure eight pattern and saying, "Ah, stay away from me, stay away, I command you." And they just whine and twitch and start like rolling around uncomfortably. And that allows him and Vaughn to, between them and the demon, just to come up and basically coup de grace them while they're like incapacitated.
Nice. A cheer goes up. Ah, salt and iron, salt and iron, salt and iron is blood. You have a moment to catch your breaths while you wait on the third round. I'm curious what we see you do just to sort of get your bearings and rest or whatever you're doing.
And Vaughn kind of gestures toward the imp, and it returns to him and is circling around him again. And then he's just kind of towing this moss-covered rock beneath him as if to ensure his footing, and then gives a quick narrow-eyed glance towards Horrorguest.
You might also notice that that bite wound, is starting to have little red fine fibers around it. Horrorghast, what do we see you doing in the interim?
I think Horrorghast is like caressing an exposed bit of the rock and saying, "It's okay. I know that this red pestilence is hurting you, but we'll clear it away." And he turns to Vaughn and says, "You're being colonized too. It's like secession. First it wears away the rock and then the soil grows. Maybe that's what's happening to your flesh right now."
Are you taking pleasure in that, Horrorguest?
I take a perverse pleasure in many things that other men consider to be unfunny. Rock-related humor, you might say, is my forte.
So we will see how funny you think it is when the next creature bites you.
Speaking of, you have earned a grand total of, let's see here, it would be 14, a gold 14 roll plus 2 gold. You can, however, move into the third round. The prize for the third round is the total gold roll plus 4 gold. So, are you moving on?
Oh yeah, all or nothing.
Got to see it through now.
Fantastic. A hush falls over the crowd. People don't often go to the third round, and yet here we are. The company commanders had to go to great trouble to find your opposition in the third round. But they managed it, and you can see some very unfortunate company members using long hooked poles to prod forth the next beast. It is another moss infected beast, though this time it is a moss infected grizzly bear. Its brown fur is run through with veins of red moss. It actually, at one point, as they're sort of like pushing it forward, and again, it's not a very graceful creature. When it's infected, it kind of stumbles a bit. It actually like retches. It opens its mouth, and its maw opens up. And you've never seen a bear open its mouth so wide, and it just belches and spatters on the ground a big glob of red, wet moss. It just but they push the thing forward. You've got a moment here before the combat begins. What are you both doing?
I think I might try and use some a ritual to lower its
The
endurance.
endurance is 10, so that would be a good idea.
Since Vaunt had a go last time, I
What's your
think
ritual?
I think perhaps what I'm going to do is I'm just thinking. Yes, I'm going to use brimstone to basically superheat the rocks
Oh, okay.
around it so that
Mhm.
the moss all starts burning. Because if it's colonized by the moss, then perhaps that will disrupt it.
I like it. Would you have been preparing this even before you saw the monster?
Yes, I think Horagast has always got because he has a geomantic miscellany as one of
Hmm.
his objects, so I
Yeah,
think he's always got that one ready because it's saved him many times in the past.
fantastic. In that case, I'll let you do the ritual, and you can also join the first round of combat. Let's have the ritual, though. Guide us through the risk roll, please.
Okay, so the first thing I need to know is yeah, what could go wrong?
I think you superheat the rock too much, and you're fighting on like molten hot rock. So
Like a lava flow,
right, yeah,
basically.
it's like cracking
Mm.
into like lava. Yeah, exactly. Talk about blood on a red rock.
Yeah.
Or the grizzly bear is so affected by this moss that it just ignores the pain from the heat and it's more of an impediment to you than to it.
Let's talk about dice. What you got?
Well, light die for something I'm skilled in, and I do have I have sacrifice, and I'm essentially I do have attunement as well. That's perhaps more relevant. I can attune to the book and to the ground itself, which I have already established I've been communing with.
I love that. Magic. I guess rituals and magic. You do the risk roll as normal, so you can ask for.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do we think this is inherently? I am risking my mind or body, I think, because we're
You have to do it
basically,
because of a ritual. You have to do a
yeah.
dark
Oh, yeah,
die.
of course it is, and we're
Yeah.
creating flow as lava, so basically we have
Yeah.
to. Yeah. I I think I'll start with. Can I ask for some devil's bargains for an additional light die or a devil's bargain, perhaps?
Um, no matter what, the miscellany catches on fire and is destroyed.
It has served me well many times. If it allows me to survive this extremely lethal thing you've devised, Jason, I'm going to go for that. So I'll get that's a risk
Unless
to
Rob's got a
one.
better one, but
Yeah.
I
I
was,
didn't
yeah,
know. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I was just thinking like no matter what the fire you create, it gets out of control.
Oh yeah, starting an uncontrollable fire is both very trophy and very Horgus. So I think I will actually pick that one. The book can live another day.
indeed, indeed. You've got two light dice and you've got one dark die. Let's see if you're going to reduce the endurance of this thing.
Oh, that is absolutely dire. I got a three dark,
Three
which is the
dark did
highest.
not work. Wow. Okay, you do not reduce the monster's endurance, and you also suffer some kind of consequence. This might be exhaustion, magical backlash, a monster attack, or something else that prevents you from engaging in the combat roll. You may continue to use other kinds of rolls to aid in combat, however. We'll see about that. Maybe a help die from Vaunt would be helpful here, because
You have a 50% chance of doing better than me.
Yeah,
So,
I think so. I
how would you help with the
given
magic?
well, given that my one of my weapons is this bound imp, which may have some kind of affinity for fire, maybe it can help keep this thing under control. I think Vaughn kind of mutters under his breath, "Fool has made the battleground more unpredictable." And
Indeed, indeed.
do I just, oh, it's just a straight help roll, right?
It is indeed. Make a help roll, see if you
A
get.
5.
Ah, well, that's better. So
heck yeah.
you reduce the monster's endurance by one. It is now an endurance 9. I just want the magic. Let's describe the magic first, and then we'll do the combat roll.
I think basically Horgest has this little book in a little parcel on his belt. It's kind of like strapped in, and he pulls it out and he opens it to a page of runes and starts sort of muttering them almost to the ground, like as if he's talking conspiratorially to the ground. And he uses a sort of burnt bit on the tip of his wooden finger, like a charcoal pencil, to quickly sketch out a series of crude Kaldori runes in a sort of semicircle in front of him, and then he says, "How do you like that, you bastard?"
Indeed, the ground is heating up, but Vaunt, how does the imp both help and also cause the fire to get out of control?
I think because Horagest is drawing these runes on the ground kind of directly in front of us, and it's almost reducing our room to maneuver. So the imp at Vaunt's command rushes forward and kind of drags the flames that are spreading away from us and toward the bear. But it's now there are more flames than there were a moment before.
So you are fighting this bear. It lumbers forward not so gracefully. It truly lumbers. It practically rolls and gets on its feet again. And it's now partially on fire from the heated ground. There's fire breaking out. You can actually hear behind you people screaming because fire is breaking out in the camp a little bit. But that doesn't change the fact that you have got to finish this fight. Tell me how you're exposed and roll weak point.
Yeah, I
I think.
think
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like leaning into that idea that there's like less room to maneuver because of this heated ground and flame, right? So we're more restricted in what we can do
Yeah,
in terms of footwork. Weak point is 5.
5.
I think quite simply because Garland's curse is eating away at Horgast's body and converting it to semi-precious stones. Those two are getting hotter, and if this goes on too long, he will probably start to combust.
Indeed. Please roll weak point.
And that is a 6, which is absolutely wonderful.
That
Thanks,
is
Forrest.
terrible. You both have horrible weak points. Let's have a combat 2. You're looking for 9. Go ahead and roll this one, Horgast.
Oh, okay, yes. We're playing for reals now. Okay. Oh, that's a 6.
A 5 and a 1 is a 6, and the
Ah,
5 is a hit on Vaunt. Vaunt, are you marking armor? And if so, narrate the combat, or narrate the combat regardless.
yeah, I think this thing comes blundering towards us through the increasing amount of fire, and Vaundis is concentrating on commanding Togmalai's imp, and it just moves too fast for him to prepare for and comes through the fire at him and catches him a swiping blow with one of its paws. I'm going to take the hit because I just feel like I might need the armor next round.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
All right. Horror guest, please give me your bit of the
I
combat.
think Hargest is like laughing, like in a sort of legit, somewhat deranged way, and saying, "I always thought it would end like this. Fire and molten stone."
Fantastic. Did you take a hit, or did you get hit with armor?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a
Oh, you didn't
six.
get a
So
hit. That's right. No,
I
you didn't.
no, I'm.
Mm-mm.
That's why the fight didn't end, because you're just hollering at the beast.
I didn't do
Vaunt,
anything either. I was ineffective, but
Vaunt, it's a combat 3. This situation is getting pretty out of control. We're looking for 9. If you're still in it, you can always
Come on,
back out and
Forrest.
give Horror Guest your weak point.
Come on, Forrest. That's an 11.
11. However,
But
it's a
I took
6 and a
another
5.
hit.
So you're both taking a hit, but you will destroy the thing.
I will
Vaunt,
use
and
my
it,
armor this time.
yeah,
yeah, this is round 3 of 3, isn't it? So
it
I
is
think
indeed.
my gold bandolier is starting to melt into it. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
I love it. Horror Guest, start the combat. What does it look like?
I think literally the stone bits and the gold bits of Horrorgast are like joining together, and Horrorgast actually starts to get the molten gold off with his sort of burning wooden hand and throwing it like a projectile at the thing, and it starts burning it and like burning holes in it, and starts saying, take that, revenge from the earth itself, you bastard.
Vaunt, finish it off.
I think kind of with a sneer toward Horagest's antics, Vaunt just gives another command to Togmalar, which tears into the bear's flank and throws it off its charge toward him, and he's able to sidestep and plunge his blade repeatedly into the thing's flank, enough times until it goes down, and then stand out of the way of any moving limbs as he and or Togmalar and Horagest are able to bash this thing's brain pan in
I feel
until
like
it's
it
no longer
takes a
moving.
while, right?
Mm,
Like this is the repeating motif of this is it takes us a while.
It's not like a flourishy kill. It's like this
right.
slow, like like attrition of brutality. Indeed, the cheer that goes up is not quite as robust as you might have expected. That's because half of the people are trying to put out the fire that broke out in the camp. But that's okay. You put on a good show. You're entitled to 4 gold plus this would be a 23 gold roll. Um, Horagust, roll gold 23, please.
Oh, I was born for this. So I can totally get a
It's
zero
going to get
on
nothing.
gold
It's going to get
23.
zero. I know this roller.
Come on, trophy. You can give me zero on this. 4 gold. Actually, that's not abysmal.
It's
So
not bad, yeah. That would be a grand total of 4 each, actually. So that's a pretty good payday for this. And you have to spend some of it to reset your stuff. But everything is calm. The fire is put out. They've brought out the chest of silver. Despite a fair bit of damage in the camp that's going to have to be dealt with, and maybe some people were injured at Blood on a Red Rock because of the molten burning rock and embers going everywhere. The company commanders agree it was a fantastic show and that you have both earned the opportunity to seek the Founder's Blade. You can. They bring out the chest of silver and they bring out the Founder's Blade. They hold it up. You've seen it before. It's a beautiful, immaculate magic sword that would belong to one of the founders of the company. And it is meant to be it's meant to aid you in combat, and indeed it does. Very powerful magical sword, plus all the money. If you face each other, the winner gets it all. This would be a contest roll straight up, if you wish to do it, or you can back out and take your silver. But you both have to agree by placing your hand on the gauntlet of salt and iron.
We both have to agree to the duel.
mhm.
Maud gives that steely look toward Horagest again, and with a hint of a sneer, places his hand on the gauntlet.
Ooh, hubbub, 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 hubbub. We're just waiting on you, Horagast. Will you be, or will you be turning away?
Hargest looks at the sword, looks at Faunt, looks at everyone, laughs, spits on the ground, and says, "You won't be rid of me that easily, you bastards." And takes all his treasure and just turns around and just walks off.
Fantastic. This is a worthy choice. No one will fault you for turning back. And indeed, you will be celebrated. Not quite as much as you might expect, probably because you caused a lot of damage in camp, but nevertheless, you will be celebrated for your excellent showing at Blood on a Red Rock. I need you each to, well, actually, no, there's no burdens here. This is a burden zero delve. So your money is yours to spend as you wish back at camp. Thank you all so much. I'm going to wave goodbye.